Welcome to this special energy show for immortal beings all. So I'm going to welcome you, particularly if you are an immortal being. This is a show for you. And if you are not an immortal being yet, I heartily welcome you to join in and find out what it is that immortal beings do. Okay, so yeah. Let's get started. Now, the most observant among you have probably noticed that I'm not alone today. I have a co-presenter with me. And my co-presenter is... You know, my mirror ball is my representation for the human soul. The part of us that takes us beyond this life and into another life. And in modern energy, that's not an idea or a supposition. It is simply a fact. It's a thing. I discovered this to my amazement some years ago. There's that wonderful story when I first invented, if you want to call it that, I got the idea of taking something that worried me and throwing it up and over my head. And to my amazement, this created this wonderful energy sensation as it sort of could be felt. And then as it came towards the middle of my back, it just disappeared. That was amazing. And I put lots and lots of worries and problems into the thought flow sphere and threw it up and over my head, and just enjoying that sensation of being free from these problems, these troubles. It was absolutely marvelous, and I told everybody about it, and everybody back then in those days, we had, what was it, YouTube email group, no, not YouTube, Yahoo email groups, and everybody who was into this stuff was on them. Lots of people tried it out, absolutely loved it too, said how amazing it was that this thing, that it just, you can just still feel it as it goes halfway down your back, and then all of a sudden it's completely gone, and you feel like, oh, that's nice. So yeah, we experimented with this a lot and did all sorts of things. And then one morning I was in my kitchen, and I remember this very clearly. I was boiling breakfast eggs for me and the family, as German people sometimes do. And one of my biggest problems at the time was trying to make a map of the energy system, a very structural, simple map of the energy system, for me to understand how it works. And we had the mind of energy, the energy mind, the dear energy mind. We had the heart of gold, but there was something missing to make the whole thing work. And I couldn't figure out what that was. And so as I was boiling my eggs, all of a sudden this thing just exploded into my mind, which was, it's the soul. Oh my God, it's the soul. The soul is actually a real energy system. And the three together, the energy mind, the heart, and the soul, oh wow. It was just such a huge star event for me. And in that moment, for me, the soul became a real thing. A real thing. Not just some random thing, but a real thing. And this real thing, that then required a lot of investigation on what is it, what does it do, how does it communicate with that, what kind of energy system is this? Awesome time of exploration. And one of the things that I said immediately about the immortal soul was that it cannot be tied to any organ in the physical body at all. There's these people out there who think that the soul is in the pineal gland, and there's some others, they think it's in the solar plexus, and other people think it's further down their body, even still somewhere near the genitals. But it is not tied to any physical organ at all, or reflective of any physical organ. Like the heart of energy is reflective of the actual beating flesh heart, or the energy mind is reflective of the brain and the neurology. The soul has no reflection in the physical body at all, which is exactly why when the physical body goes down and takes with it the whole meridian system and all the other things that are going on there in the energy body, the soul does not have to cease its existence, because it exists in its own realm, in its own way, and it isn't tied to the physical body. So that was all great. And the next sort of big threshold shift I had with the immortal soul was because of Star Matrix. Now, in Star Matrix, we look at the highest positive experiences of our lives. And one of the exercises in the Star Matrix Masters course is to, towards the end, right at the end, is to create a star line. This is a timeline that is only made up of high positive events. And when I did the exercise myself and tuned into that, what I found was, and that was a star event again in its own right, what I found was that this star line continues completely unbroken. And that it would continue didn't surprise me. I mean, this is known. Even the Dothraki know this across the narrow sea. But what totally blew me away during this experience was that you couldn't tell where this life ended. There wasn't like a big catastrophe, a nuclear explosion, or a big break in this star line. It was completely unbroken, like a string of pearls or a line of diamonds, and you couldn't tell where this life ended and the next level of existence actually began. And that totally blew me away. And I would say that from that moment forth, I started thinking of myself as truly an immortal being. An immortal being. Not just a multidimensional being living in the oceans of energy, but actually an immortal. And that is such a groovy thing, and such a different way to look at life, look at yourself, look at other people, to wander around and stand at a bus stop and think to yourself, I'm an immortal. Yeah. Walking through the town centre as an immortal. It's extraordinary. It's really cool. So, just for fun, let's play a little game of energy. Energy, emotion, and intelligence. I'd like you to, assume the heart position, if you will. Don't have to, not necessary, but sometimes it helps. I'd like you to take a deep breath in and out. And then I would like you to say out aloud into the room, I am an immortal. And then I'd like you to pay close attention to what happens when you say that. If your natural language is other than English, then please say it in your natural language. My original language was German, so I'm just going to say this. Ich bin ein Unsterblicher. Ooh. And I have much more noticeable reactions to saying that when I said it in German. There's something going on here in my head. There's definitely something flowing down my back and my shoulders. And It's just an interesting energy sensation. I am an immortal. And yeah, so here we come then to many questions we could ask. So I have a living energy body, and a structural part of that is the soul. That's an energy system. It's not some floaty, ghosty thing. It is a structural energy matrix that has its own rules and regulations, its own way that it works. It's all made of energy. And it is that which makes us immortal. And that brings us, of course, to my currently favorite thing to say to newbies. What is the most important part of you that has received the least amount of attention? That would be your living energy body. And the reason for it being the most important part, it creates our emotions, it creates thereby our decisions and our entire life. But most importantly, it's a key to your immortality. It's what makes you immortal. Das macht dich unsterblich. Now, das ist doch was wert. That is worth something, don't you think? And while we think about this for a moment, I'm just going to say good morning to dear Lorna, to Pavel, to Ilka, and to Paul. Hello, my dear fellow immortals. I'm glad that I have you here this morning. And so, the very first question that I would like to ask of you, for we have here a council of immortals come together this morning. What is going to be different if you start acting more like the immortal that you are? What is going to be different? While you think about that and have some time to write it down in the chat and in the comments if you're watching the review, what is going to be different as an immortal? I'm going to tell you the story of my art channel. I think energy art is super important in the greater scheme of things, and also in the greater schemes of modern energy itself. I believe it is super important, fundamental, foundational, whichever way you want to call it. And likewise, there are so many young creative people out there, younglings as I call them. There are more creative younglings out there today than there ever were when I was a child. Because in the last few decades, creativity has been encouraged. And creativity has been the key to getting followers on Instagram or followers on social media, or generally speaking, making your way forward in modern society and in life. Unfortunately, these younglings have all been told that they must paint their trauma or something along the lines of that. And they don't realize how much power we have to bring positive energy into this world. Positive energy generators that not only are a positive contribution to humanity, to the house they're sitting in, to every person that encounters them, but in the creation of these positive works of art, the artist actually heals, grows, and evolves. And that is just such a hyper important message for the creative younglings, so they don't waste their life rolling around in misery and trauma and destroying their own energy systems, but that instead they should go forth and through their uplifting, inspiring, amazing works of art, change our entire civilization for the better. So that is to me, so how do you feel about the young artist and the art? Mm-hmm. I agree completely. I couldn't agree more if I had two heads. You're completely right. Yes, we need to do some soul saving here. Soul saving not in the way that the souls are um, damaged or broken. They're not. But what they are is incomplete. We need those star events, those high positive events to feed the soul, to make it stronger, to make it shinier, to make it bigger and better. And by going the wrong way and into trauma, what we are doing is we are starving our own souls to death. And that's just an absolute nightmare. That is an evil that should have never have happened. That must be corrected as fast and as soon as possible. And so, to me, art is life-saving, and especially for the young creatives. For the people who don't care about creativity and they're not in that zone, fine. Keep going on with your life the way you're doing it. It's all good. Stay away from therapists. Do your job. Love, live life. Fantastic. But for the creative younglings, it is of the essence that they start taking their own energy body seriously, their own soul seriously, and reverse 180 degrees and start bringing that evolution, that love, that life back into their incarnations so that they can grow up and become people who contribute marvelous things to our societies, which are starved of marvelous, uplifting, soul inspiring things. Huh. And I thank you for listening. Let's have a look what our friends are thinking about this. So I asked the question, if you are an immortal, which you are, how is that going to make things different for you? If you really understood it, really embraced it, really went into it 100%, I am an immortal. How is that going to change what for you? Was the question that I asked. And Lorna replied, I feel more freedom as an immortal. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely concur with that. Because I'm like, first of all, I have a friend now. I'm not alone anymore. Secondly, this totally ties into our topic here with where somebody told me that I am 50 years too old for TikTok. 50 years too old for TikTok. I'm 63, and most people on TikTok are like 15. So, yeah, I'm 50 years too old for TikTok. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, sure. Everybody else is 13. I'm 63. And then my eyes fell on some men's that were standing around. They're always standing around. I always have men's around me. And I just burst out laughing. And I thought, really, I am the magical child in this body here that you see. I am a eternal magical child. And I connect with other eternal magical children. And I don't care how old they are or what kind of bodies they inhabit. I just don't care. It's that spark. It's the magical child within that I connect with, and that, you know, I'll do okay on TikTok. I find other magical children who want to play with me. And that excites me more than giving keynote speeches as the president of the Guild of Energists, as much as I love giving keynote speeches as the president of the Guild of Energists. Thank you, Lorna. At this freedom, I'm immortal. Of course I'm going to be fine on TikTok. Don't make me laugh. And guess what? I am. Let's see what Pavel says. Pavel says, the difference is no more taking yourself so seriously, perceiving everything like a humorous event. Yes, I completely agree. See, when things become serious, that's a direct indication that our energy has become too low on the modern energy chart. And the lower you go on the modern energy chart, the more serious everything becomes, and the less humor there is, and the less space for people to be happy and laughing. And to be fair, it's a clown world out there at the moment. An absolute clown world, and I completely concur. When you look at what the current happenings, people get so hung up on the current happenings, like with the UK Prime Ministers all changing every 5 minutes, and everybody's flapping. And you look at that from the point of view of an immortal, and you just go, human beings, aren't they sweet? So cute, so cute. And all of that will be forgotten tomorrow and it'll be washed away again. And then the next clown show will appear to keep people amused. It's just, yeah, 100% Pavel, on board with that. See what Paul has to answer the question of what is different as an immortal. Paul says, I feel an expansion of energy, a release from previous perceptions of the little things, the negative things that seemed huge before, a sense of peace and belonging. That's beautiful. Very nice, Paul. I like that a lot. Yeah, whenever I connect with this I'm immortal thing, I get a sense of that, like leaning backwards into a safety net that holds you and that has your back, which is just a wonderful sensation, a feeling of slowing down rather than racing like crazy, you know. It's somehow brings you back to the moment and the amazingness of living a physical life. It's an amazing thing. Drifted off there. So Ilka said, art can reconnect us with our essence. It's like a portal. Yeah, art is the direct route to communicate with your soul. That's the direct route. Without a priest in the way or translator in the way or some other thing that can get between you and your soul. Art is the direct route to communicate. But yeah, screaming at it, shouting at it and cursing it and I don't know what, or pretending it's not there, ignoring it, that's the worst thing, isn't it? Ooh, that is the worst thing. There's nothing worse than that. Children and animals, dogs, will prefer a beating to being ignored. Attention is life energy for human beings. When attention is withdrawn, people wither. They wither, literally wither. But that's not just people. That's animals too, and it is our friends in high places. Our best friend in high places, our own immortal soul. We withdraw attention from the soul and it withers. And then what we have is we have soulless people creating a soulless society for all the citizens. They wither, the society withers, the citizens wither. We've got to bring more love into the world, people. And loving our own souls, paying attention to them, connecting with them, talking about them like we are doing today. Immortal beings. How do immortal beings relate to their own souls? Give me your answer, my immortal council that we have assembled here today. How do immortals relate to their own souls? While I'm waiting for some responses, I'm going to share some more comments because this is really quite wonderful here. What would it be like if you were an immortal? What would be different? I think this is a really important one that our friend Sierra Fox has contributed. They said, as an immortal, there would be no fear. Is that even conceivable? What, a life without fear? Oh man. That's possibly something we should be praying for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the world. A life without fear. Wonderful. Thank you for that, Sierra. Ilka said, as an immortal, I feel more connection, stability, powerful and kind of playful too. A kind of woohoo. Yes, like a release, like getting out of prison and appreciating the world in a whole new way. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this eternal child, the magical child within, if you will, I think the soul is like that. I don't know about other people's souls, but mine always feels so young, so like a men's, completely amazed by everything that it encounters, just being stunned and astonished by everything and being delighted by things to the point that you're so delighted that you're laughing, not because it's funny, but because you're just delighted, laughing in delight. That's beautiful. Love it. Dieter, good morning. See what Dieter says. As an immortal, you have a bigger perspective for your projects, not just this desperate try to fit it into this little short life. You can plan much more generously. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's true. A completely different perspective on life, on what you're doing. And particularly in, like, the current dramas, whatever the current dramas are. Let's say, for example, you can't pay your electricity bill. It's the current drama of the day. As an immortal, how do you respond to that? With the general panic and the freak out and the scrabbling around, or by putting your head slightly to the back or to the side and going, That thinking produces different actions. Those energy states, those points of view produce different actions. Very interesting. Certainly something that we should play with. Interesting. Ilka says, thinking about life as an immortal, the rights and the wrongs are shifting. Indeed. That's a very powerful statement. Yeah, and shifting importance. That's very important. Yeah, shifting importance, priority. Just this morning, I uploaded a little video to my brand new TikTok channel, and the piece of the artwork that I showed was "Don't sweat the small stuff," and it's classic symbol painting, but normally what you have is you've got the symbol in the middle and that's colored in, and the background is sort of a background. But in this particular symbol painting, the background is all tiny little symbol squares with all different colors. But in front of it sits this big white one that has no color. And the idea is that we learn to focus on the things that are really important in our lives and let the small stuff fade out into the background. I'm not saying that we shouldn't deal with the small stuff, but from this higher vantage point, like, at least we are the CEOs of our own incarnations. You know, different decisions might be reached, different ways of being. Let's have a look what Dieter said. As an immortal, you go for solving things once and for all. Yes. See, even though I'm an immortal, I have little patience for the same thing over and over again. I don't like walking back the same way that I came. I don't like having to do the same thing over and over and over again. And so, yeah, just because you're an immortal doesn't mean that you are endlessly patient, for I'm sure I'm not. I like to have things moved on to the next level. That's the thing. Oh, we had that the other day. What was that? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different outcomes. That has got to stop, absolutely. And so what we're looking for as immortals, we are looking for evolution. We're looking for expansion. And so the same thing over and over again clearly is some kind of hell to us, and we don't like that. And so, yeah, absolutely. Good. See what Lorna says. I love having a safety net where we can lie back and get a whole new perspective and view the stars and star matrix. Yes. And I actually have had experiences of this moving backwards slightly, moving into that state, that expanded state of walking around like an immortal. And they have been super interesting, as have been the reactions of people I have met in that state. Very, very interesting. And I'm so glad we're bringing that back today. I am so glad that we're doing that now and focusing on it and giving it space and time and attention and talk about it. There's so many people don't like talking about souls, because if you do that, then people think you're crazy or whatever. Well, sorry, guys. I mean, you're crazy if you're not talking about souls. Yeah, you're crazy if you're not talking about souls. We need to know more about them. Where's the scientific research? Sierra says, not sweating the small stuff is absolutely a profound way of being. It's the ethos I try to live by. Excellent. Excellent. I applause from me. Fantastic. Yeah. Focus on what's important in your life. Really focus. First of all, figure it out. What is important to you about your life? Why are you here? What's your mission? What you're trying to accomplish? What's your purpose here? And then from there we can move on to figure out, what is that white thing that was on my symbol painting in the middle? What's important to you? And then focus on that which is important. And in the focusing on that, the other stuff just slowly starts to disappear. Because there is energy in that. There's action in that. And these new actions that we take, like for example, me making a TikTok channel, starts now creating all these other different things that didn't happen before, that weren't there before. This is not about sitting necessarily just on your ass all day and meditating and trying to ignore your problems. That's not how this works. This is about finding your priorities, what you're trying to do, and putting yourself 100% behind it. You know, I absolutely believe in art. You know I do. You know how important it is to me. But I haven't said much about it because the people who are GOE members were back in the day mostly psychologists, and they don't really want anything to do with art or souls or anything like that. And so I put that light under the bushel, and I shouldn't have, because you can't see energy, but you can see energy art. It's something you can show to people. There's something that you can use that is a bridge between, that is the bridge. It's the bridge between the energy worlds and the heart. Can't believe I didn't really. Yeah, so that was tremendous fun. I'm an immortal. And I have to admit, my favorite quote this year is that one that's on the thumbnail for this video. Somebody said to me, "Act your age." And I said back, just snapped it back, didn't think about it. I am immortal, and I do. I act my age. So, how does an immortal act their age? How do you act your age as an immortal? Something else, another question to ask. And really, we can take that back then. The person that said to me, "Act your age," they have done me a big service, because I can remember that. It's nice and short. "Oh, Sylvia, act your age." And in my case, that means act your age as an immortal. And that completely shifts the scenario we're dealing with. Completely shifts the scenario we are dealing with. I am personally a young immortal. I'm new to immortality. Some people grow up in civilizations and cultures where they are told as young squirts that they are immortal, that when they die they go to heaven, that all their friends are in heaven already, and they're waiting, standing on the other side of a big river. And when you die, then you will get on a boat and you get to the other side, and they're all there waiting for you. And this is an absolute reality to these people. This certainly wasn't the case for me. I didn't think about it at all, never heard about it at all. And that's extraordinary, really, considering I did go to church services. So either the Lutherans in Germany didn't mention immortality, or if they did, they didn't do it in such a way that it had an impact on my young aspects. Didn't really think about it. But it has to be. It can't not be. And so, yeah, I had my own personal experiences. And this is really what I'd like to close with. One of the massive star events in working with people that I've had, and I've had many, was the lady who wanted to do some tapping, and she only had like 3 weeks to live or something. She's sitting in a wheelchair, and I asked her, obviously any newbies coming into this, we only work with the energy body in modern energy. We don't promise physical healing at all. We don't even think about physical healing, because we're only working with the living energy body, the poor thing, the most important part of us that receives the least amount of attention. So I asked the lady what could possibly make her feel better right now. And she said, if I believed in an afterlife. And so we tapped on this, and there was this absolutely extraordinary moment where her energy shifted completely, and I felt I was in the room, the saint. She was radiant and said to me, I have just remembered that I always knew there was an afterlife. I had just forgotten. That totally just is beautiful. And if we go to Star Matrix, I absolutely believe that there are moments in almost every person's life. Now, I'm saying almost because I can't prove this. I personally actually think that there are moments in every person's life, where they connect, a +10 moment where they connect with this whole thing that's going on. And they, yes, I'm immortal. Yes, there's life after death. Yes, life doesn't end with death. Had their own experiences, like clearly this lady who's dying of cancer. She must have had that experience. She tapped into that because she said it. I remember that I always knew already that I am immortal. So, so I would invite you right now and after this session, make yourself a lovely drink, sit down somewhere quiet, and remember the moments in your life when you understood something, learned something about immortality, about your own immortality, about other people's, about their souls, about soul travel. I know that particularly the people I'm speaking to today, my council of immortals that has assembled here, will have these star memories, lived experience, personal proof that trumps every scientific study, that trumps what a billion other people are shouting, where you know that you are an immortal. I like the idea, always like the idea of putting it on the business card. Sylvia Hartman, President, Guild of Energists, Modern Energy Artist, and Immortal. I think immortals have a lot to give to the younglings. Some sort of an old person might not, but surely an immortal might have something that the younglings would find interesting and that they would like to connect with, and especially if they themselves have a sense of their own immortality. That'd be nice. They'd go like, oh wow, finally somebody understands me, somebody I could talk to, somebody who gets it. Yeah. Man, when I was a youngling, if I'd met somebody, no matter how old or decrepit or fat they would have been, who actually got what was going on with me, I would have, oh God, I would have worshipped that person. I would have gone and done anything. You know, I would have cleaned their kitchen to be able to talk to them and ask them questions. I don't believe that younglings reject older people or elder people or just hate them because they're older or elder. I don't believe that. I believe that we can come together as we're supposed to be and put our unique points of view together to make it more than the sum of our parts. I had a Sension one time where there was a tribe sitting around a campfire, and on top of the campfire there was this big golden pot, and each one in turn got up, all of them as best as they could. The old ones had to be helped, and they took this golden ball of light that was their experience, their knowledge, and they put it in the pot. And when the final piece, which was a little tiny child, like 18 months old, put their little golden ball, their experience into the pot, the whole thing just catalyzed into this extraordinary fountain and formed a bubble, and the entire tribe knew everybody's contributions. And I believe that human beings are supposed to be like that. That's how we're supposed to work. Everybody adds their personal experiences, their star events into the pot. Everybody. Old, young, don't matter. Once it's a golden ball of light, you can't even tell where it came from. That's how it's supposed to be. Ilka says, Ilka Wandel, poet and immortal. Absolutely. Dichter und Unsterblicher. Wie schön ist das denn? Sierra says, you're so tuned in. That's exactly what these kids need, Sylvia. Yeah, I needed that when I was a child. I didn't get it. And I'm in a position now where I would absolutely love to share my knowledge, what I've learned, and also the authority that I have of age now, where I can make a TikTok video and I can say, you don't have to find an art style. Whatever art you produce is produced in your style. Don't let people pressure you to change the way you express yourself or paint or draw, or be able to do loads of different things and be forced and shoehorned into some sort of way of painting. It's just so that the people who buy and sell art can tell who painted the thing. Oh, yes, sorry, that was I could rant about younglings and art forever and ever and ever and ever. And this is not a one-way street. The younglings, their art are going to inspire me. Totally. Of course. Their bright young energy and ideas and challenges and questions, of course that's going to inspire me. And that's how it's supposed to be, you know? It's how it's supposed to be. Ooh, let's see what Paul says. Paul says, as an immortal, I'm ageless. And in that is a clarity about each action I take is a step upon an endless timeline, and how those actions have effects on others, on life. An immortal can choose light. Yes. I cannot, for the life of me, imagine an immortal who would choose darkness. Perhaps that's the kind of reward, right, for the people who really do want to love more and receive more love and be more loved and bring more love into the world. And their reward is that they're much more likely to become an immortal than somebody who goes around destroying stuff and angry and hateful all the time. Makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Let's see what Francesca says. Good morning, Francesca. We need to free immortality from the shackles of institutionalized religions. Oh, absolutely. Of course. We need to free spirituality. We need to free the truth, love, everything, and bring it back to the individual person. See, and this is what Star Matrix does. This is what Star Matrix does. It takes the individual person back to their own enlightenment experiences, their own wisdom, their own knowledge that they've assembled in this lifetime. Often, you know, under hard, difficult and bloody circumstances, hard-earned wisdom, goddammit. So that they have something that guides them from within rather than from without. Revolution waves flag. All right, guys. So I tell you what, let us finish with a little mini meditation on immortality. So I'm I'm going to invite you to join me in the heart position, if you will. And just that thought. You are immortal. I am immortal. We are immortal. Just let that resonate and reverberate all around and through your living energy body. Just take a moment to breathe in and when we say I am immortal, we are actually speaking from soul. For the body is not immortal. The mind is not immortal. But our soul is immortal. We can step into a place where we are just a physical body. And that's not immortal. But we don't need to do that, because when we step into that place where the true immortality resides, we move back slightly and connect with that energy system, that safety net, that wonderful system that exists within all of us and that is hungry for high positive experiences, for high star moments, because that is how it grows. Think it often, say it often. I am immortal. And I'd like you to join me. Gently open your hands now in the giving position. I wish immortality to every human being in the world. Souls are groovy. They're amazing. I love souls. Oh, that's so nice of you to say. You. Yeah, guys, so Paul adds to what I say and paint with actions of positive effects to create a ripple of energy for good. Yes. Stand up for love. Stand up for positive energy. Stand up for souls. Stand up for your own soul. That's where it all starts. Always starts in human beings with yourself. Always starts with human beings with yourself. So I am going to thank you from my heart and from my soul for being my immortal counsel today. That was absolutely wonderful and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the idea of a council of immortals coming together and exchanging ideas and energy. Absolutely wonderful. Really, really makes me smile. And what makes me smile most about it is that it's real. It's not a computer game. It's not a fantasy novel. We are real human beings, each one of us, with our friends. We are immortals. I'm going to finish with the thing. I love the thing. We have amazing physical bodies. Amazing, awesome, totally beloved, extraordinary physical bodies. We do. And we have beautiful minds. Time-space machines that can transport us to anywhere. That can have and do anything. They're astonishing, our beautiful minds. We have a radiant living energy body, which includes the beautiful heart of gold, the amazing dear energy mind, and our own immortal soul. We are multidimensional beings in the oceans of energy, and our immortality matters. I enjoyed saying that so much. If you enjoy what we do here, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with a friend, copy the link and share it on social media if you feel there's somebody out there who would benefit from hearing what we discuss here in Modern Energy. It's the only way forward. It's the only way this is ever going to spread out and grow. And so with that, I wish you all lots of fun with your immortal games that you play, you immortal that you are, in your reality. And I'm looking forward to hearing lots more feedback on social media and anywhere else. And I look forward to seeing you again for next week's energy show. Lots of love. Bye for now. Bye, everybody. Thank you.